And then that was my introduction to tattoos. Like, that's what I want to do. That's something I want to do.
Well,
And
and it's cool because, like, for a lot of people, when you've seen that stuff in the magazines and stuff for the first time, it's like, holy fuck, that's what a tattoo can be? You know,
yeah.
because for the longest time, it was the most basic. I mean, that's where traditional tattoos came from. It's like,
Mhm.
it changed. You know what I mean? And what changed it is the Mexicans. How this actually happened is everybody's pretty familiar with Ed Hardy.
Yeah.
So Ed Hardy apprenticed under Burt Grimm, which this is 60s, maybe early 70s, California. Tattooing was illegal in New York City.
Right.
So in California, it was hopping. Everybody was coming to California to get tattooed. Ed Hardy was just a fucking nobody, you know, and like, I mean, these guys are literally tattooing in there, fucking smoking cigarettes while they're tattooing. They got no gloves on. I mean, they're fucking, I mean, it was the Wild West,
Yeah.
you know, and like, that's where all this stuff fucking came from. So it's like, literally, when Ed Hardy came up, he was the first person to say, you know, we should be wearing gloves. We should treat this thing like a medical procedure. No smoking in the fucking room now. I mean, he is literally responsible for turning tattooing into a professional thing. And he was also the first tattoo artist ever to leave the country for the sole purpose of learning the art of tattooing in a different country.
Yeah.
He went to Japan to learn how to tattoo.
And that's where he got his art style from. And honestly, like, you hear it nowadays, like, whenever you mention Ed Hardy, people think of, like, the 2000s, like, decor, 2000s, like, dressing.
Well, it was on everything.
Yeah, it was on
Lighters,
everything.
mugs,
And then
cups.
people would associate that with somebody being a douchebag or something like that.
And I did the same thing.
Yeah.
I was
I did.
offended as a fucking artist. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like, I was like,
I was like, yeah, you're, and I was, granted, a teenager in the in like 2013, 2014, and stuff like that. I'd see Ed Hardy and I'd be like, oh, that's a douchey thing to wear. And
oh, dude, I had the
after,
motherfuckers that had the seat covers. They had the
oh
steering wheel
yeah,
cover. They had the fucking mug. They had the
yeah,
whole wrapped kit. Ed
and
Hardy.
I was sitting there like, nowadays I'm just like, you know what? Without Ed Hardy, I bet you that tattooing would not be what it is today.
It definitely helped.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of information here that's important with that, though. Like, so Ed Hardy merchandised, and we're not even going to say these weren't. None of these designs belong to Ed Hardy, and this is the biggest fuck you of it all. This is where, like, because in 2013, I was already tattooing at that point.
Right.
So I was already in the tattoo industry. So I was like, you know what, you fucking motherfucker, you just fucking. I mean, kudos to you, but you literally just took every fucking piece of traditional tattoo work that you grew up on, that Burt Grimm, Sailor Jerry, all these motherfuckers, they're the real owners and artists
Right.
of that traditional style. The Panthers, the fucking skulls, the ladies, the daggers. I mean, literally everything. All that traditional tattooing is Burt Grimm, Sailor Jerry, and a couple of the guys that were in that time. Ed Hardy was just the only one that was smart enough, like, you know what? We could put that on a fucking shirt and on a mug and on a lighter.
Right.
It's like he didn't own any of those designs, but all the people that did were fucking dead. All of them were dead and gone. So what he did is he teamed up with that Christina. I always accidentally say Aguilera, but it's an Aguilera. Everybody, if you remember, photographic memory, Ed Hardy by Christina. Da, 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 da.
Right.
It was on
I remember
everything.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that lady is the one who said to him, "Hey, you know what? We could fucking blow this up and turn this into a brand. You know, take your name and turn it into a brand." Because he was essentially retired from tattooing at that point, so he was just making buku bucks off of, like I said, just a. I mean, it's just the same thing if I said after 20 years of tattooing, I took everybody's designs that I did for you and put them on T-shirts and sold them.
Right.
I have the right to do that.
Right.
I mean, I don't own any of those designs specifically, but who's going to say anything? You know, I mean, I created them, and you know, so it's like, so she merchandised all of that shit for him. But what's funny is that after the contract expired for them two, she just kept printing his shit. She continued to print his shit for a long time, years after that contract ended, and he had no idea. And he fucking had to file a lawsuit, and they had to go and fucking. I mean, it was a big thing. So that's where you didn't see it for decades. It went away. All of it went away. They had to pull every bit of it. So now you're starting to see it again. It's coming back out, and her name's off of it. So it's like, you know, it's just like anything. I mean, like traditional, you know, tattooing. It's vintage. It's retro. It's like history repeats itself. That stuff will always come back in little fads.
Yeah, like Ed Hardy's stuff. It's like a little bit's coming out, as
He
you
was
said,
just smart
and
enough to monetize it, you
yeah,
know.
and if you go to Walmart now, you'll see in like the jewelry section, there's like some watches and stuff like that.
Rings, dude. I seen the
Those
rings.
rings,
I'm
I
like,
saw
dude, I
those.
just want the packaging. I got the
Like
boxes and shit, but the
like
rings are dope.
I wanted, like, I would have loved to have like the ring, like a couple of the rings and stuff like that. I know I want one of those watches that like there was one with a tiger on it, and I fucking love that thing. I
Well, and he
was
had
like,
a
that
whole
is
set. He
cool.
had glasses and like, I mean, he
Yeah,
had whole series of them, and like, and I was the first one too. Like, it's douchey. Like I said, I mean, like, I've been drawing those fucking designs forever. I've been seeing
yeah,
those tattoo designs on people forever. Like now, everybody wants to wear them. Fuck you
right.
guys.
But
But
like seeing those, seeing that, um, seeing those, like I was just like, oh, I didn't even think Ed Hardy was still like the brand
yeah,
aspect of it. I didn't even think that.
he still tattoos
Yeah, I know he
periodically from
does.
time to time.
Yeah, and I'm not like I thought kind of forgot about Ed Hardy for a while, and then when I saw those like stuff at Walmart, and I was like, oh shit, like that's actually pretty cool. And me getting out of that whole mindset, like, oh, this is just a douchey thing,
Right.
like that. I got out of that whole mindset, like when after I had turned like
Yeah,
18,
I'll
19
have
and
to turn
stuff.
you on to it. It's a really, really, really good documentary about Ed Hardy, and it's called Tattoo the World.
Okay.
And his upbringing is super cool, dude. Like you know how like little kids, used to have your lemonade stands and all this stuff. Well, him and his buddies had a little tattoo shop like that, and like they would sit people down for a quarter and they would draw designs on them and like crosses and all this stuff. And it was all designs that he had seen because Burt Grimm, whenever he was a little kid, he let Ed Hardy and his buddies just sit in there and hang out. They were little fucking kids, and Burt Grimm's in there like tattooing naked ladies and shit, and all this stuff. And it's like every other tattoo shop would kick us out. Get the fuck out of here, you little kids.
Right.
But Burt would let them hang out. So like he would scour the walls and he would have a sketchbook and because you couldn't take a picture of shit back then. So like,
Yeah.
oh fuck, okay, that's cool. I'm gonna take that home. I'm gonna take that home. That's cool. You know what I mean? He's just getting all of these different things, and then he
Yeah.
would go and run a little tattoo shop on his fucking street corner. And what's funny is Ed Hardy's initials. His name is Donald Edward Albert Talbot Hardy. His initials spell death.
Oh, I love that.
Donald Edward Talbot. It's Donald Edward Albert Talbot Hardy is his fucking full name, and his initials spell death. So
Dude,
like
that
that
is
was his little coin tag on all of his little artwork and
Death
shit.
Hardy.
Yeah,
I fucking love that.
it's like
I didn't even think
it's
about
so
that.
cool. And so like in this documentary, he's pulling out these fucking things, and he's showing like there's this photograph from 19 fucking 30s or whatever 40s. This cross with this wave and this lady or whatever that he had drew on his buddy's chest. He's got it on a print, and then he's got it on a shirt, then he's got it on a big canvas, showing like the evolution that like he had that idea when he was fucking 10, and he's still when he was 20, kind of redrew it and kind of
Mm,
re-evolved that piece. Like we were talking about, like you find a piece from an old sketchbook and like, what can I do with that now?
yeah,
And
like
bring it into the times.
want to see how my artwork has improved, and I've done
Right, and
that.
how you evolve and how
And
your interest, because you, like I said, you
yeah,
look at that and you're like, well, shit, I wouldn't do it like that now. Like, why did I position it that way, or why did I shade it that way?
and
And
I love how that turns out, because
it's like,
especially when you have like a physical photo like on your phone, and then you take a picture of it, then and you look at the side by side,
right,
and you're like, oh, well, okay, so now I see where my art has improved, like I did on my
especially on days that you're feeling like you haven't progressed. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like those are the best days, like I said, to check yourself, even to look at something you did 6 months ago.
Yeah, like
You know,
on my YouTube, I had a video. I don't know if it's still up there. I have to look at it, but I had a video of me doing like these random, like I always used to do like these random like faces, just like abstract faces that I used to do. And I look at the face from then, and then I look at it now, and I'm like, okay, my art is definitely cleaned up a lot, and
right.
it looks so much better.